So you've heard about near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. When I was 4 years old, I had an experience of the afterlife, the energy world, the astral plane, whatever you want to call it, that was so profound it changed my life. I want to share this with you. So you may recognize that 4 years old is the age children develop the theory of mind. This is what's going to affect them for the rest of their life. This is a child's concept of how other people exist. How are there other beings who have their own consciousness, their own choices, their own desires and motivations? So I'm like 4 years old. I hear my parents talking about I'm going to be going to kindergarten, to school soon. And I got kind of worried in my parents' backyard, behind a white picket fence, looking out at the front yard, at the road that I wasn't allowed to go explore because I'm just a little toddler. And I asked my child mind, what is the world like out there? And I suddenly had this intense vision. Reality disappeared, and what I saw was this vast pit, this vast cavern with many layers going down into the darkness. And on the various tiers, the various levels of the cavern, there were men, women, and children, thousands, millions, and they were all screaming, they were wailing for help. It was a scene out of some kind of hellish nightmare. My parents were not fundamentalists who talked about any kind of hell. I was not allowed to see horror movies. I had no exposure to anything like this. There were no demons, there were no devils, there were only people suffering. So I remember in my child mind, I just looked in shock and I just said, what is that? And this really amazing, big, gentle, giant, comforting voice behind me said, that's the world, but don't worry. You have come to make it a better place. And so in my child mind, I just kind of reached out and I just said, like, don't worry, it's going to be okay. And then the vision disappeared. And I was suddenly back in the backyard on a normal sunny day. And then soon after that, I did go to kindergarten and I always ran away. My father had to keep bringing me back until finally I realized I have to stay. So this vision, this understanding that the world is actually suffering, really influenced my development. So I was always different as a child. I talked about spirits, I talked about utopias, other worlds, friendly dragons and nature spirits. I have suffered and struggled a lot of my life with what people call shadow work, clearing out the emotional blockages, the pessimism, the depression. And I wondered, why didn't I just turn around to that voice, say, who are you saying that I come to make the world a better place? My voice is my main spirit guide and other guides behind them. So I love to explain to people, yes, the world can be hell, but it also can be heaven. You come from a paradise. You go there every night when you dream. That is the afterlife, the inner planes where you make spiritual connections with other beings, and you will be guided to the people and places where you belong to thrive.